Welcome to Aaron Plays. This is technically episode 48 of my Fire in the Lake playthrough, where I played the US and the other three factions were controlled by the Tru'ng bot. However, the game ended in episode 47 with an NVA victory. I went to the wire, myself on -4 and themselves on -4, but the bots win in case of a tie. So this episode is more concentrated on my thoughts of the expansion and the game with the expansion and my overall feelings about the game as such. Fire in the Lake is by far my favorite game in the Coin series. I've tried many of the others, and some of them have been great, some of them have been okay, and some, in my opinion, so it's definitely not expressed in most people's opinion, have been dire. I'm looking at you, Falling Sky. This one, as I say, is my favorite. I rank it as one of my best favorite games of all time. But I never managed to complete a game solo using the flowcharts that came in the first edition and then in the second edition. I found the rules for the bots very convoluted, difficult to follow. I don't consider myself the smartest man on the planet, but I definitely don't consider myself the dumbest man on the planet. But I could not get my head round some of what was going on or wanting you to go on with the bots in the original box and even the second edition, as I said, update kit, which was a shame because there was plenty of potential. I tried playing it solo without the bots, you just playing, all four factions. And again, I was always at face of that. What would they do? I know what they're going to do. And, that kind of a lot of solo players can get their heads around. I struggle on that. So when it was announced by GMT that we've got a new way of doing the bots, I did their P500, looked quite forward to it, was quite excited. When the package finally arrived, I was a little disappointed. It was very thin. 2 little books, 24 cards, is it? 6 per faction, 24 cards. A couple of play aids and such forth. I thought, okay, not as much. And yes, they did advertise it, but it still felt very thin. Read the rules, did 1 or 2 of the playthroughs through the playthrough guide. Thought, yeah, it's okay, this seems all right. I'll give this a whirl. Then played up to a first coup as a tester, because I had by that time decided I was going to run it on my channel. There seemed to be some interest in me doing it. So I did effectively up from the start of the game to the first coup to get my head around some of the things. But yeah, okay, seems all right. Let's start the video. So 47 videos later, the game concluded. And I would like to say that is the first time I have concluded a game right to the very end of Fire in the Lake. I say this is one of my favorite games. Usually it ends before then. This went right to the final coup card, and it went right to the wire in the sense of how close it was. And I thoroughly enjoyed the experience. It took way longer than I thought it would, but it felt like a journey. I started this at the end of April, and I'm recording this in the following November. So 6 months. Now, 6 months to play a game. Well, that's one of the beauties of Vassal for me, is that I can keep it saved on there and such forth. Whereas if I've only got a small table, I probably would never have finished it. But as I played the USA, I never at one point felt comfortable in the sense of, oh, this is an easy win or easy at this. I had meaningful decisions all the way through the game. And I felt, in most cases, I'll explain how when I felt that the bot didn't, they made meaningful decisions as well. So that's my initial thoughts on it. Now, as I say, the components I felt were a bit thin, but in actual fact, you don't need any more. There was 24 of these bot cards, which for the episodes, I did pictures of them all so I could show the cards as I was going through them. Each of these cards double-sided. The way that the deck was constructed was quite nice. You keep drawing until it's the next card of that faction. And the mini flowcharts on there were so much more easier to interpret than the ones that, the full flowcharts of the bot that comes in the original box. But the cards, to me, are not the main component. They're not the engine. The engine is the 4-panel charts and tables. Because on there, and I'll bring up a picture, you've got, if I bring this up, this is the heart and soul of the game. That page, this page in particular, all these little dots telling you what they actually do. This one, and I'll go through, the move priorities, and also this one which determines which cards are critical or performed and such forth. But yeah, this 4-panel sheet, this is the core of the game. The cards are the end product. They are the thing that gets you to where you need to be on here and what you need to be doing. So I found this a little bit difficult at start to get my head around. And this one, going through each of the options and where the dots are and such forth, yes, takes a bit of time. But once you get it, it's fine. The only one I still struggle with and I still don't feel comfortable with is this one, the move priorities. I found this a real bear to get my head around, but still easier than what came in the original box. So, as I say, there were quite a few times when I was doing moves for each of the non-player factions that I wasn't 100% certain in my decisions for them, if I was doing it right or wrong. But in the end, I got the feel right. It was still good enough a guide that even if I was doing it wrong strictly by these rules, it did enable me to do it right, that I felt anyway, on the board. So what else was it? You got these, this is on a separate card, the event instructions, special instructions. I think I needed to refer to this twice. So the non-player coup round instructions. The redeploy, nearly as bad as the move, but still it's workable. You can work your way through it. And well, I did 6 coups in the end using it. So again, especially around the ARB and the redeploy, it's hard work. But again, I feel I got the feel, if not quite strictly, the exact interpretation of the rules on that one. So as I said, with the original bots that come in the box, never completed the game. With this, well, this is the first one I'll complete. This is the full game. I feel quite confident now that I could do any of the factions. And I also feel that now I'll be quite willing to play this multiplayer and let the bot take any position that's not filled. So I could play it two-player, playing two-player, you know, one faction each, and bots taking the other two, and such for three-player, my bot taking one faction. The demo playthrough, as I did when I did it off camera, I did up to the first coup. That did show me the potential of the system. I definitely would recommend going through all the examples in the playbook. I didn't initially, but I've subsequently done that whilst shooting through the video. It still makes me struggle with the move actions, but it definitely helps. And overall, I think it makes this a better game for the solo player. There are many times when I said the bot surprised me with a few things. It did definitely pick on the leader. You know, the Arvin at one point were, you know, 1 point away from victory, and then everything the other two bots did brought them back down into the mire with them. And I really like that. Now, obviously, there's no way you can negotiate with the bots. And there's a couple of times when I felt that, you know, there would have been definite on-table negotiations going on. But that is the slight limitation of playing solo. So the bad, what I didn't like about the game, it took a lot longer to play than I thought. Now, part of that was obviously shooting videos, but my decision-making time for the bots was still considerable as compared to playing with other people. Well, playing with most people. There are players out there with AP who can take a formidable amount of time in playing this game. But in the main, it definitely plays a lot longer than if you're playing with other players. That movement chart, yes, that is a bug. I don't know what they can do, because obviously moving is one of the big criteria of the game. But every time I did get to draw one of those cards and it came up with move, I always, okay, got to work the way through this. And it really slowed down at that point. Don't know what they can do about that. In the end of the day, it's a complex game. Where the enemy is going to move is a complex decision tree. The wordage could be better, but I don't know personally how to make it better. It's a difficult thing for them to do, but that was, for me, some of the time I would pause the video, I would walk away, go and make myself a cup of tea, maybe read a book for half an hour, because like, oh dear, just to chill out, and then, right, okay, we've got to get this move sorted out, and then did it. So yes, that was, it's not bad. It's better than the bots that are in the box, but still, it's hard work. The other bad, and this came more transparent when I was getting towards the end of the game, there's no escalation from the bots in the feeling that, you know, that the game's ending. You know, we've got to sort this out and do this and do that. So in the last video, the bot was still rallying when, you know, because that was the card that was drawn. There's no end game from the bots. They just carried on going through the motions. I don't know if there needs to be maybe a separate set of cards could be brought in for, if you're in the second to last coup to last coup, because there was definitely a feeling like, no, if that was a player, they wouldn't have chosen that. And the VC seemed to really struggle with that kind of decision tree. There was, I think it was in about episode 43 or 44, where they did something around, they played an event, which got them this one piece here, where a rally would have been a lot more sensible for them. But the card said, because it was a critical event, that did give them something, they chose that. Now, I have seen discussion where they say, yes, the bots are allowed to make bad decisions. Humans make bad decisions. And I fully understand that. But there was no escalation in their play. I've got to do this because now, as in with human players, because I'm only going to have maybe 3 or 4 more actions until the end of the game. So I don't know if the designers ever watched this, but that's my personal take. There was just they just played at a constant level. And I said, that's fine, but I wasn't playing at a constant level. I can see from my play as the US, I've got to do something now. And there was always that tension for me, but not for them. And that to me might have changed their play. But that's it. This is my only 2 real criticisms. And they're not really even criticisms, they're my observation, in the sense that this is a complex model. It's a complex game. I've played this with hex and counter gamers who are brilliant players, people that can wipe me on the floor, but when they get presented with this, it's just, whoop, no, they don't get it. They don't understand it, the concept. What are you trying to do? What are you trying to achieve? It's just so much out of their ballpark. But the game works. And I say, this is my favorite coin. It's one of my favorite games of all time. I like the period, the case studies. I've played quite a few Vietnam games. This one is the one that keeps coming back to my table. And now I can get it back on the table and play it solo and play it to a conclusion quite happily. To me, that's good. So that's great. That is beyond doubt. When I finally finished it, I was like so happy, because not happy because it was over, but I had actually finished it. It was a long time coming, 6 months, as I said, but it was worth it at the end. Those little cards, the way they work, flipping them over, are so much easier to read and interpret than the ones that are in the actual core game. That 4-panel thing I described, again, apart from the move, everything else just went sweet as a nut. And even as an interpretation for the moves, in the end, you didn't get it 100% right, you still got the feel, and it still surprised, and it still did things that I wouldn't have thought of doing, but when they actually did it as the bots, I was like, that was a good move. That's what got me thinking. And as I said, from me playing the US, my decision making, every time I had an action, I did feel I was making decisions based on what the bots were doing and the opponent. And at no point did I feel I know what the bots are going to go and do. I know what they're going to do, because I never felt that. And in a solo game, that's perfect for me. That's exactly what I'm looking for. So, in conclusion, if you haven't got this expansion and you play solo, get it. I can't say it, just get it. If it's difficult to get, look on eBay. Just find it. It is that good. Now, the Saigon expansion, when that comes out, I will begin that, and hopefully they will. I believe they're carrying on the bots, so I'm looking forward to that. And overall, this just puts that game. It was a 9 out of 10 game because I dropped it a point because the solo wasn't so good. I will now be changing its ranking to a 10 out of 10. I can't think of any reason why not. So yes, so that's my conclusion. 47 episodes of the game. It has been a journey. I know when I started this, I had quite a lot of people viewing, and that deteriorated and dropped until there was about 20 to 30 of you guys watching this from the beginning to the end. And I had various comments, thanks, likes, all of that. Much appreciated. Many of it, it kept me going, because it was a long haul. Part of me thought, should I stop doing this? Just play the game to my own conclusion. But I thought, no, the whole point is I would like you guys to see it. I did have a few technical issues on one episode that I had to restart the whole thing again. Luckily, using the Vassal, I just went back to the previous save spot and started over. So this has been a constant on my channel since April through to now, November. I will be doing this again. Not straight away. You will probably want to play the NVA because they won. See if I can still win with them. Though tempted by the VC as well. I'm not tempted for some reason to play the Arvin as yet. If you guys would like to have me record that and put that up, add that in the comments. I don't know. At the present moment, I'm intending to play it with a real board and cards and just see how long it actually takes me playing it constant, because this wasn't constant. There'll be periods when I didn't play for a week. It's on the video and such forth. With games sitting on my table, it gets played pretty constantly. So, but if you guys want to see it, we go through it. I say, add that in the comments. Let me know. Until then, try this out if you've got it. And I say, if you haven't got it, get it. It's that good. So you know what to do with the buttons. Until next time, thank you very much for watching. I've enjoyed it, and I hope you have.